The immortal John Hancock here, and today I'm doing a product review on this, the Retro Arcade. And this is a device, it looks kind of like something else, but it's not. And so I'm going to do an unboxing, I'm going to check it out. Let's take a closer look. This is the Retro Arcade, and this is it says on the package here, it's a 64-bit operating system. It's got a 4.3 full TFT screen, supports arcade, and it has a bunch of different things that it can emulate. CP1, CP2, Game Boy Advance, Super Famicom, Game Boy Color, Game Boy, Megadrive, NES. Large capacity storage. It can expand it with a memory card. Let's unbox this. So it's got like this overlay here and comes in a simple box. And let's see what's in here. I like getting these clone systems. Sometimes they can surprise you. Sometimes they can surprise you in the good way, and sometimes they can surprise you in the bad way. So here you go, you got a little manual here. So here's the manual. Let's get this out here a little bit. This out here. Not ripping off anything. Okay. Phone inserts here. So you have this. AV cables. You can hook it up to CRT. Holy cow, those are tiny little controllers. So it comes with two separate controllers. That is tiny. Kind of is about the size of a Joy-Con. Really tiny. And it's hardwired in. So it's just a USB controller. It's a little tiny controller. Weird. Micro USB. Two controllers. And the actual console. Has a screen overlay. Oh, I was waiting for like a micro switch there. That's interesting. Got kind of a little joystick there with some buttons. Start and select. Alright, let's go take a closer look. Alright, this is going to be a quick look at what the Retro Arcade includes. And I'm going to use one of the controllers that came included with it. It's actually fairly comfortable. A little small for my hands, but that's alright. So, if you go down here and you go to settings and you press A, there's lots of options for language, background settings. You can change the background, and by pressing B you can go back, and it is fairly loud, and you can turn it down all the way. There is a little bit of a sound hiss if you turn it all the way down. I want to mention that. So that is one issue with this device, is the sound is a little bit loud by default. It does have headphone jacks, the same jacks that you would do by plugging it into a TV. That's the other downside of this, is it doesn't have an HDMI input, and so it's better to be served on a CRT. Alright, so going back to the menu here, sound settings, you can choose a different sound by default, and so you have that. Most of them are annoying and loud. So if you turn it all the way down, there is a little bit of a sound hiss, and that's a little annoying. So you have backlight time, you have backlight settings. By pressing this, you can choose, that's really nice. And then B to exit. Different options here. You can add games to this via card. TF card is what they call it in the back, and you can add additional games. I'm not going to do that in this video, so because there's a ton of games already included, I really like that. So going to the control pad at the bottom of this bottom left hand portion of the screen, there is a ton of options here. So there's simulation games, transplant games, and what transplant games is is, I think, by just messing around. Check this out. Now, none of these games are included, but check this out. Does it play Amiga? If it plays all these, I'm going to be super, super excited. And Atari, I want to know what Atari. Is that Atari ST? Is that 2600? What Atari is that? But there's nothing included with these. But so it obviously has some emulators built in for additional games. But it comes with a ton of games. So let's go back here. Arcade. You go down here and it's got almost 50 arcade games, and they're good games too. I love that. So I like that. You go back here, Game Boy Advance. It's got a little bit of a sound hiss, but it almost has, wow, it almost has 700 plus Game Boy Advance games. And it starts off by having like several Mega Man games. So that's awesome. Back out here, Super Famicom. Again, I don't know if it's a sound issue, but it's got kind of a sound hiss. I don't know if you can hear it, but that is something worth mentioning. If you had headphones, it probably would go away. Almost 500 Super Famicom games, all different types. Let's go down here, Mega Drive, and it's got almost 600 Mega Drive games. Tons of stuff on here. Famicom. Tons of Famicom games, hundreds of Famicom games. It's got about 160 plus Game Boy games. Again, the Game Boy games has some sound distortion, and about 200 games. So Game Boy Color. So yes, it has a ton, has thousands of games, and so you really don't need to add any games. It's going to keep you plenty busy, and it's got some great systems emulated. So let me go ahead and try arcade. Let's go ahead and check out the Mega Drive and see how it emulates. Okay, sound is off on Mega Drive. Ugh. So in game settings, you can go here, but the only thing I don't like is you can't change the aspect ratio of a classic game. So it comes with, like, you know, an aspect ratio of more of like a modern TV, 16:9. I don't know exactly what it is, but it doesn't have the 4:3 aspect ratio. That's annoying. You can select the buttons. So I like that. You can adjust the control. It's not by default set up for each different type of game system. Instant archive, you can save. I like that. So Nintendo is running okay. I think it's running okay. The sound is not 100%. So it's important to note that the emulation on this is not 100%, especially on sound. On top of having some sound distortion, you can turn the sound off or all the way down, but then my console has a hiss, and I don't know if that's an issue with my device or if it's just that. It's fairly annoying. Alright, I'm going to show as best I can. This is the TV out mode, and you have to go into the settings. It's important to note, you have to go to settings, press the A button, and go all the way down to an option that's off the screen. It's really, really difficult for me to figure that out. I just want to let you know that if you don't do that, it's not going to automatically. Alright, another weird thing is that the volume is controlled on the volume knob on the console when you're playing TV. I can tell you right now. Yeah. So Super Famicom is definitely having some type of optimization issue. The emulator included on this unit is not 100%. It's choppy. little disappointed with this emulator on here. It's just not running 100%. So there you have it. This is far from perfect. There's a lot of pros, and there's a few cons that may be very annoying to some. The sound issue to me was the most annoying feature of this product. The hiss, I don't know. Emulation was off on a couple things. I don't know if there's a firmware update. I'm sure there's a way to optimize this to make it run better. It is really cool that it includes all the games and the availability to add additional games with some additional emulators built into this. Pretty awesome. So it's going to be for some people. It has a wide variety of games already built in. I like that it's easy to use. Control is okay. The controllers that come with it are a little too small. The link below if you're interested in purchasing this. And you know, I don't know how much shipping would be. So, you know, on sale these are around the $70 range, and they can go up to over $100. So on sale these are 70 bucks. And so I don't know, pros and cons. Sometimes when you include everything, it means that everything doesn't run great. So that's my thoughts on it. There's pros and cons. This is just a quick look at this. Thank you so much for people continuing to tune into my humble channel as I march towards 70,000 subs. I'm almost there, and I'm enjoying doing these quick look videos. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. This is the Immortal John Hancock. You take care.